Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are putting on our culinary gloves, grabbing our stock pots, and really diving headfirst into a truly specialized and frankly ambitious collection of sources. We aren't just looking at a single cookbook here. We are analyzing a compilation of 50 distinct, highly coveted seafood preparations. This resource, it really represents a serious exploration of technique, of regional variation, and, ingredient mastery across the whole world of shellfish and crustacea. Our mission today is pretty straightforward, but it's substantial. We're going to be synthesizing these approaches for you. We want to get past the simple ingredient lists and really highlight the interesting philosophical differences, the surprising flavor pairings, and more importantly, the specific technical instructions that can take a simple ingredient, like shrimp, and turn it into dozens of completely different culinary experiences. It's the shortcut, not just to being well-fed, but to being the most informed person at the next seafood event, really understanding why that lobster tastes different from the one you made last week.
Oh, that's exactly right. And what's so fascinating here is the sheer dedication to iteration and comparison. We aren't just looking at one definitive way to prepare classic dishes like crab cakes or Clams Casino.
Right.
Instead, we're actively comparing different boiling methods. We're contrasting the specific binders used in stuffings and exploring these unique flavor combinations that truly cross traditional boundaries, like that inclusion of amaretto liqueur alongside cayenne pepper and shrimp. The strength of this compilation, it forces us to think critically about why these variations exist and what tiny technical changes create such a dramatically different result in texture, aroma, and flavor. We're basically reverse engineering the foundational elements of seafood mastery.
Okay, so let's unpack this breadth of material. Just scrolling through the table of contents, which runs to 50 distinct items, it's almost exhausting, but in the best way.
Yeah.
It shows this dedication to capturing variety, suggesting the compilers were obsessed with gathering every notable variation they could find. We see everything from the simple, foundational technique of basic shrimp to these really elaborate multi-component dishes like Chesapeake crab strata. It's a comprehensive look at how one can maximize the flavor and the textural profile of crustacea and shellfish.
That impressive breadth, it really emphasizes a mastery of the subject. But if you look closer at the primary focus, the sheer concentration of shrimp preparations is instantly striking. Shrimp just dominates this collection, which suggests a strong regional or, maybe a personal preference bias in the original sourcing. We have dishes spanning all these regional styles, like the ultra-rich Alabama shrimp bake, international influences like almost shrimp pesano, and several unique quick sautés like that amaretto shrimp we mentioned.
And while shrimp certainly takes up a huge percentage of the volume, the rest of the compilation doesn't skimp on depth across other categories, which is, really important for a thorough deep dive like this.
Precisely. The sources cover a really significant range of varied shellfish preparations. For crab, we see these luxurious appetizer concepts like avocado crepes of crab, and then the geographically specific standards like Baltimore Crab Cakes.
Okay.
Oysters are covered, getting the complex appetizer treatment with baked oysters with blue cheese, and then a much simpler smoky approach in barbecued oysters.
Oh.
Then we hit scallops, classic New England clams, including the rapid microwave-based clams Italiano, and of course the essential boiled lobster techniques. But the real structural insight, I think, comes not just from the variety, but from the deliberate inclusion of multiple versions of a single concept.
Right.
For instance, baked stuffed shrimp appears as versions 1, 2, and 3. We also see 2 versions of beer batter for seafood and 2 distinct approaches to Clams Casino.
Yeah.
This redundancy, it isn't just repetition for lack of ideas, it's a structural comparison that's built right into the source material. It forces the cook, and now us, to compare and contrast the different ingredient philosophies embedded within a popular dish. It's asking you, the listener, what kind of crab cake person are you?
That is such a great point. It makes you realize that for the compiler, the binder is just as important as the primary protein. It's like saying, here are 3 ways to build a house, each using a different foundation. Which result do you prefer? We are comparing the functional difference between, say, a creamy foundation, a crunchy foundation, and a soft, porous foundation. That's a powerful way to structure a culinary resource. Let's start with a seriously intense, high-flavor baked dish, the Alabama Shrimp Bake, Recipe 1. This preparation immediately just telegraphs richness and zest. It demands a large, high-quality base, 2.5 pounds of large shrimp, and critically, they are cooked with the shells on. This technical instruction, I think, is our first major clue. Why leave the shell on?
Leaving the cells on is a technique used specifically to maximize flavor protection and moisture retention during the bake. The shell, it acts as a miniature protective armor.
Mm-hmm.
It prevents the direct blast of that 400-degree heat from just drying out the delicate protein underneath. But the marinade base is where the philosophy of this dish really shines. It's built on a foundation of 1 full cup of melted butter.
A full cup. Wow.
A full cup. But that richness is sharply balanced by a nearly equal ratio of acid and umami. 3/4 of a cup of lime juice and 3/4 of a cup of Worcestershire sauce. That ratio guarantees a high level of acidity to cut through the heavy butter, preventing the dish from becoming cloying, while the Worcestershire provides this immense savory depth. This base is then further enhanced by generous amounts of diced garlic, dried rosemary, salt, freshly cracked black pepper, and just a touch of ground red pepper for a subtle background warmth.
The technique here is absolutely critical, especially when it comes to the layering and the continuous attention required. After mixing the butter, lime juice, Worcestershire, and seasonings, the instructions specify placing the clean, drained shrimp first in the pan. Then, thinly sliced medium onion and 2 thinly sliced lemons are placed over the shrimp.
And this layering technique, it's designed for maximum flavor infusion without overwhelming the shrimp. The slices of onion and lemon sit on top, and they slowly release their juices and aromatics downward into the marinade as it heats up. And here is the crucial technical instruction, the part that turns this from a passive bake into an active glazing process. You decant the marinade over this arrangement and bake it uncovered for 20 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit until the shrimp turn pink. However, the preparation requires continuous basting.
Ah, okay.
You have to check back every 5 minutes to pour the marinade over the shrimps while they're baking. This continuous exposure to the hot butter acid mix evaporates water, concentrating the flavor compounds, and it builds this sticky, intense glaze on the shell. It prevents drying and it intensifies the final zest.
That active basting step alone, that explains the complexity and the deep flavor of a true regional bake like this. Now, shifting gears a bit, the sources give us 3 entirely different ways to approach baked stuffed shrimp, recipes 8, 9, 10. This really demonstrates how the stuffing the binder is not just filler, it's the structural and flavor variable that changes the entire identity of the final dish.
Absolutely. We are essentially comparing 3 different binder philosophies here. Let's start with version 1, page 14, which uses a very luxurious and complex base, leaning toward a more classic European culinary style. The foundation is a rich white sauce, or, a roux-based binder, made with equal parts flour and butter, cooked and then mixed with milk. This creamy foundation is then combined with 1 cup of fresh crab meat, a dash of sherry for sweetness and depth, mayonnaise for richness, dry mustard, salt, Worcestershire, and sautéed diced green pepper and onion. The purpose of this white sauce base is to create an extremely moist, creamy interior that provides a stark contrast to the baked exterior of the shrimp.
The preparation involves cleaning the shrimp, removing shells and heads, but leaving the tails on, and then slicing the shrimp in the middle to open it flat, essentially butterflying it. You stuff this white sauce-based crab mixture into the cavity, close the sides, brush them with butter, and then dust with paprika and grated Parmesan before baking for half an hour at 350 degrees. The result is a substantial, rich, and very moist presentation.
And in sharp contrast, version 2, page 16, simplifies the approach drastically, relying on crackers for the binder. This is a much quicker, more Americanized approach. It uses 1½ sleeves of crumbled Ritz crackers mixed with a tablespoon of melted butter or margarine, hot sauce, Tabasco, garlic, salt, and Worcestershire.
The key functional difference here lies in that cracker binder, right? Ritz crackers are inherently savory, they're flaky, they contain fat, meaning they contribute both flavor and a quicker, more defined exterior crunch than a bread or creamy base could ever offer. The instruction is to simply transfer 16 large shrimps to a baking dish, layer the stuffing over the shrimps, no butterflying mentioned, and then bake for a much shorter period, 15 minutes at a hotter temperature of 400 degrees. That short hot bake is designed to maximize the crispness of that cracker topping.
And finally, version 3, page 17, offers a bread-based dressing, which emphasizes maximum aromatic infusion and volume. This recipe starts by taking 3/4 of a French bread loaf, soaking it in water, pressing out almost all the water, and then breaking it apart by hand. The act of soaking the bread allows it to absorb the flavors later while providing this porous, soft structure.
And that prepared bread is then mixed with a complex, sautéed aromatic base. Celery ribs, a large minced onion, scallions, and fresh minced parsley. Crucially, 3 laurel leaves are included in the sauté and then specifically removed after cooking. Why is that specific removal instruction so important?
That's a key technical insight. Laurel leaves, or bay leaves, contain essential oils that are highly aromatic. If you leave them in during baking, they can release bitter, overly pungent notes, especially if they're exposed to high, dry heat.
Hmm.
By removing them after the initial sauté, when the essential oils have already been transferred to the fat and the aromatics, you get the depth of flavor without the risk of bitterness or an overpowering perfume. This aromatic dressing is then combined with 1 pound of crab meat. The technique involves butterflying 30 shrimp, wrapping the dressing around them, dusting with seasoned crumbs, and baking for half an hour at 350. This version seems designed for maximum flavor from that vegetable base, resulting in a slightly softer, more flavorful stuffing than the cracker version.
So we have the white sauce, which is rich, creamy, and moist. The cracker, which is crisp, quick, and savory. And the bread, which is soft, porous, and aromatic. That's a masterclass in how different binders can dictate the entire dining experience. Now let's move on to barbecued shrimp techniques. Recipes 12, 13, 15. The sources provide 3 distinct takes, and they all share a common regional DNA. Gulf shrimp, heavy on the butter, and often requiring the shells or even the heads to be left on, as we discussed, for protection and flavor.
Starting with barbecue shrimp version 1, page 20, we are looking at a massive scale. 6 pounds of Gulf shrimp with heads left on, and it demands an incredible amount of fat, 1.5 pounds of unsalted butter. The other components are a 1/4 cup of limewares, crushed garlic, 2 laurel leaves, and 2 teaspoons of paprika. But the defining feature here is the use of black pepper. The instruction is focused on creating a literal black crust. You scrape the baking dish base and sides with garlic, place the laurel leaves down, layer the shrimp, pour the lime juice over, dot the butter cubes over the shrimp, and then dust with black pepper so that the entire top layer is colored black. It's an instruction focused on achieving extreme seasoning coverage and heat retention on the exterior. It's then baked for a short, intense 15 minutes at a lower temperature, 300 degrees, until pink. And it's served in soup dishes with the sauce and a slice of bread. That serving style tells you the sauce is liquid gold and meant to be soaked up, not thrown away.
Barbecue shrimp version 2, page 21, is a completely different approach to fat saturation. While version 1 focused on an exterior pepper crust at a low-heat quick bake, this version is even more indulgent with the fat content. 5 pounds of shrimp, but 6 pounds of butter. Plus lemon juice from 6 large lemons, 2 ounces of garlic juice, 1 teaspoon of hot sauce, and a generous 1/4 cup of oregano with 3 crushed laurel leaves.
The functional difference here is the pretreatment of the fat. The process involves seasoning the shrimp heavily with salt, pepper, and the crushed leaves, but then you boil the butter and lemon juice mixture before decanting that boiling mixture over the seasoned shrimp.
Okay.
The fact that the fat is boiled and then poured over the raw ingredients maximizes penetration and flavor integration before the baking even begins. The longer bake time of 40 minutes at 350 degrees further ensures that the butter fully infuses and emulsifies, resulting in a deep, rich, and profoundly flavorful sauce, not just a simple layer of melted fat. This is about total butter integration.
Finally, we have the straightforward barbecued shrimp, page 23, which uses a blended technique focusing on broiling. This calls for 2 pounds of fresh shrimp with shells on, 3/4 cup of cubed butter, minced celery, leaves included, salt, a substantial 2 tablespoons of freshly cracked black pepper, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, Tabasco, and Worcestershire.
This version uses the high direct heat of the broiler to achieve a rapid, intense flavor and color change, maximizing the effect of that butter and spice mixture. You clean the shrimp, place them in a baking dish with the garlic and celery, add the lemon juice and butter cubes, and sprinkle the seasonings and sauces. The cooking method is primarily broiling until the butter melts and the shrimp turn pink, followed by a quick few minutes of standard baking to finish the cook gently. This is less about submersion in fat, like the others, and more about achieving a rapid, flavorful surface sear.
Moving away from the large-scale regional bakes, we hit some preparations that emphasize richness and speed, often focusing on pan-frying or sautéing. Take almost shrimp paisano, recipe 2. The name suggests a nod to a traditional style, but the functional preparation is focused on creating a perfectly crisp exterior and then bathing it in a hyper-rich, emulsified butter sauce.
It starts with the familiar battering process. Extra large shrimp shells removed, deveined, tails intact, are dipped into a mixture of egg, milk, and pepper, and then coated with all-purpose flour. This thin layer of flour coating is crucial because it helps create a barrier that retains moisture and allows for a quick, even browning when pan-fried in oil for exactly 4 minutes.
And here's where the sophistication comes in, the sauce. It utilizes a cup and a half of chilled cubed butter mixed with diced garlic and lemon juice from one medium lemon. You cook this over moderate heat, mixing continuously until the butter has melted and the sauce is thickened. This technique, using cold butter, is a classic way to create a beurre blanc or an emulsified butter sauce.
Exactly. You are relying on the emulsion of the fat with the lemon juice and the water content of the sauce. The chill of the butter cubes helps stabilize this emulsion as it melts, creating a rich, velvety consistency rather than just serving liquid oil and melted butter. It's finished with fresh minced parsley and then decanted over the freshly fried shrimp. The amount of fat used guarantees an extremely rich, velvety finish that coats the shrimp, suggesting this dish is designed for maximum indulgence, serving 4 people according to the source.
Then we encounter a flavor profile that is truly unique and perhaps unexpected in this collection. Amaretto Shrimp, Recipe 3. This is a simple, rapid dish designed around the dynamic contrast of sweet liqueur and intense spice.
This is a perfect example of rapid flavor infusion. The ingredient list is succinct, but it's potent. 1 pound of prepared shrimp, half a cup of butter, a third cup of amaretto, 2 teaspoons of white sugar, a third cup of slivered almonds, half a teaspoon of cinnamon powder, and a surprising but crucial punch from 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne.
The genius lies in the quick technique. You heat the butter in a very big skillet, incorporating the amaretto, sugar, almonds, cayenne, and cinnamon. You mix the sauce just until the sugar has been fully incorporated, creating a stable, sweet, aromatic glaze base. The final step is crucial. Throw in the shrimp and simmer for only 5 minutes until they turn pink. The short cooking time means the sauce acts as a potent, quick glaze rather than a deep marinade.
That combination of cinnamon, the almond liqueur flavor of the amaretto, and cayenne provides a sweet, nutty, and subtly spicy coating that penetrates quickly due to the rapid cooking time and the open surface area of the shrimp. The instruction stresses immediate service on top of hot cooked rice, which implies the excess sauce is an essential component meant to saturate the rice underneath.
For dishes prioritizing clarity of flavor and precision, we turn to California Scampi, Recipe 45. This preparation relies heavily on the technical use of clarified butter, which is an insight in itself.
That decision to use a full pound of clarified butter for 1.5 pounds of large shrimp is a clear focus on purity of flavor and textural quality. Traditional butter contains milk solids and water, which lower the smoke point and can burn, potentially masking the delicate flavor of the shrimp. Clarified butter avoids these solids entirely. The instruction involves sautéing 1 tablespoon of minced garlic in the clarified butter, adding the seasoned shrimp, salt and pepper, and cooking until the shrimp turn pink. The critical technical note here is explicit and valuable to any learner. Do not overcook shrimps as they will have a gummy texture. This emphasizes the importance of quick cooking to maintain that tender, snappy texture, which clarified butter allows you to do more reliably due to its higher smoke point. The remaining clarified butter is added toward the ends and decanted over the shrimp on the serving plate, ensuring that rich, pure flavor remains the dominant characteristic.
We see a similar dedication to quick cooking and texture manipulation in the cashew shrimp variations, recipes 46-48, which are classic stir-fry style dishes designed for speed, vegetable integration, and texture contrast.
Both recipes deal with 1 pound of medium shrimp, 3.5 cups of cooked rice, zucchini, onions, red peppers, and a substantial amount of cashews. Both use a precise marinade for the shrimp made of cornstarch, baking soda, salt, pepper, and sugar, with the shrimp marinated for 15 minutes. This baking soda and cornstarch mixture is essential in high-heat stir-frying. The baking soda tenderizes the protein, and the cornstarch acts as a light protective coating, preventing drying and allowing for a better sear, a technique often associated with Chinese wok cooking.
Okay, let's compare the instructions, which offer subtle yet functionally important differences. In cashew shrimp 46, the shrimps are halved lengthways. They are pan-fried for 5 minutes in half a cup of vegetable oil until they turn red, then drained. In the same skillet, you sauté onions, garlic, then pepper, adding the zucchini for 2 minutes of cooking. All components, shrimp, cashews, and rice, are combined and cooked thoroughly on low fire. This is a very standard, generously oiled stir-fry.
Cashew Shrimp Supreme 48 offers modifications engineered for a lighter, quicker result. The shrimps are sliced lengthways, which creates thinner pieces than just having them.
Why slice thinner?
Slicing maximizes surface area for searing and reduces cooking time even further, aiming for maximum textural crispness. They are pan-fried for only 3 minutes until they change color, which is noticeably shorter than the 5 minutes in the other version. Crucially, after frying the shrimp, most of the oil is removed, leaving only about 2 tablespoons to saute the vegetables. This oil management results in a distinctly less heavy, lighter final product, perhaps catering to a different dietary preference or maximizing the high heat searing effect on the vegetables without excessive residual fat. The cooking times for the vegetables are also precise. 2 minutes for the zucchini after sautéing the onions, garlic, and pepper.
The supreme version is truly a subtle refinement, thinning the protein, reducing the cooking time, and dramatically reducing the overall fat content. It shows that even within a single category like cashew shrimp, there's a drive for optimized results. Moving on to shellfish, the baked oysters with blue cheese, recipe 6, is not a simple dish. It reads more like a complex culinary architecture, demanding precision and multiple steps that have to be executed sequentially. This is a far cry from simply dropping oysters on a grill.
It truly is a complex appetizer, relying on 3 distinct cooked components. It calls for 2 dozen plump, fresh oysters, 3 ounces of crumbled blue cheese, 2/3 cup of cream, dry white wine, and 2 egg yolks. But the preparation starts with the starch component. The first layer is the structural base. You boil half a pound of red potatoes with salt until tender, mash them, and incorporate 4 tablespoons of milk, 2 tablespoons of flat leaf parsley, and 4 tablespoons of olive oil. The potato mash serves 2 main functions. It provides a stable, flavorful platform on the half shell, and its starch content absorbs the rich liquids to come, preventing a watery final dish.
Next, the preparation shifts to the seafood. You clean the fresh oysters, detach the flesh from the shells, reserve the juice, and keep only the bottom shell, discarding the crown shell. But the sauce is where the technique is most sophisticated, relying on temperature control and emulsification.
This is the critical component. You start by whisking the 2 yolks with 4 tablespoons of dry white wine in a double boiler until the volume doubles in size. This is the classic technique for creating a stable, aerated emulsion, a sort of hollandaise-style base.
Right.
Separately, you boil the blue cheese and cream for 3 minutes, incorporate the reserved oyster juice, and then fold this hot, creamy, cheesy mixture into the whisk yolk mixture. The careful folding is necessary to prevent the egg yolks from scrambling, while simultaneously creating a rich, stable hollandaise-style blanket of flavor that won't separate under the grill's high heat.
And the final assembly involves scooping the mashed potatoes onto the reserved lower shell, layering the oysters over the potatoes, and generously decanting the rich sauce over the top. The final cooking step is grilling each shell for 5 minutes until it is nicely golden in color, emphasizing that this is best served warm immediately after that final high heat blast. This recipe utilizes poaching for the potatoes, a precise emulsification technique for the sauce, and high heat finishing on the grill, all in one elegant dish. That is mastery.
The comparison between the 2 Clams Casino variations, recipes 39-40, highlights the difference between a traditional, meticulous, shell-based appetizer designed for elegance and a volume-friendly casserole style designed for efficiency in serving a crowd.
Version 1, page 53, is the classic, labor-intensive approach, demanding fresh clams, specifically 24 cherrystone clams. After cleaning, you bake them at 450 degrees until they open, which is essentially a quality check, discarding any that remain closed. You peel off and mince the meat, reserving half the shells. The structure and integrity of the original shell are paramount here.
The stuffing is built on sautéed aromatics. Butter and olive oil are used to sauté minced onion, garlic, and green pepper. This aromatic base is crucial for the flavor depth. Once the onion runs clear, the mixture is combined with breadcrumbs, oregano, bacon bits, parmesan, and the minced fresh clam meat. This mixture is meticulously transferred back onto the reserved clamshells, dusted with paprika and parsley, drizzled with olive oil, and baked for 7 minutes until nicely golden. It's an individual, textural, fresh bite.
In stark contrast, version 2, page 55, is a casserole, using 3 cans of diced clams. The decision to use canned clams immediately signals a shift from freshness and elegance to convenience and volume. You separate the clams from their juices, setting the juice aside, but the key is the binder volume.
The mixture combines 1 cup of seasoned breadcrumbs, half a cup of melted butter, hot sauce, garlic powder, minced pimiento, onion, green pepper, and 5 slices of crushed bacon bits. You mix all that together, crucially adding a bit of the reserved clam juice for moisture, and then place the entire mixture in a baking dish. This casserole is baked for a full hour at 450 degrees until firm. The long bake time is necessary because the mix is essentially a moist bread pudding. It needs time for the starches to set and the casserole to firm up enough to be sliced. It's served alongside crackers, suggesting a dip-style presentation rather than the individual in-shell appetizer.
Finally, let's look at the simple majesty of lobster preparation in boiled and broiled lobster, recipes 37, 38, 39. Boiling is often viewed as the purest technique, but even here, the choice of boiling liquid is a philosophical one.
Boiled lobster, page 37, involves boiling water that covers 4 inches of the pot sides, seasoned with a handful of salt, 2 minced garlic cloves, plus 1/4 cup of red or white wine. The lobsters are gradually dunked head down and boiled for 15 minutes. The wine and garlic are key because they introduce subtle complexity and aromatic depth to the cooking liquid, helping to season the shell and the meat gently from the outside.
The boiled state of Maine lobster, page 38, is the traditionalist approach, specifying only salted boiling water for 20 minutes for a 1¼ pound lobster. The service instructions are minimal. Lift from the stock pot, wipe dry, chop lengthways to open the body, crack the claws, and serve with melted butter. The goal here is absolute purity, letting the intrinsic flavor of the fresh lobster dominate.
And the broiled lobster, page 39, offers a richer, butter-infused option that is applied externally. The preparation requires slicing the lobster from shell to tail, leaving the tail intact, and removing the abdomen shell. This butter sauce is a simple but potent blend. 1/4 pound of melted butter, lemon or lime juice, and 2 crushed garlic cloves, cooked for 5 minutes. This hot butter is decanted atop the exposed meat and baked for 20 minutes at 350 until the meat is tender. By cooking the lobster with the butter on top, the fat bastes the exposed meat, preventing it from drying out while baking and maximizing that rich, savory garlic flavor.
The sheer number of crab cake variations demonstrates how regionally specific and, fiercely debated the concept is. We have 3 distinct approaches: Baltimore, blue crab, and coated crab cakes espresso, recipes 11, 33, 57, showing wildly different philosophies on binder, seasoning, and most importantly, the external coating fat.
The Baltimore Crab Cakes, page 19 recipe, focuses on creating a rich, internally moist binder that holds the lump crab meat gently. It uses seasoned breadcrumbs, combined with a significant quantity of mayonnaise, a whisked egg, and milk. The key technical ingredient, often overlooked, is half a teaspoon of baking powder.
Why baking powder in a savory cake?
The baking powder, when it's activated by the moisture and heat, provides lightness and lift. It ensures the interior of the crab cake remains slightly airy and not dense or heavy like a meatball, preserving the delicate, flaky texture of the lump crab meat itself. The mixture is also seasoned with scallions, garlic salt, white pepper, onion flakes, and parsley flakes. The patties are coated in flour, chilled for 1 hour, which is a crucial structural step to ensure they don't fall apart when they hit the hot fat, and then pan-fried for 4 minutes per side.
In contrast, the blue crab cakes at page 33 introduce a punch of aggressive, sharp flavor. The binder here shifts slightly, relying on cracker crumbs along with mayonnaise and egg, which tends to yield a slightly crisper texture than the soft breadcrumbs of the Baltimore version.
The star flavors in this version are heat and tang. We see 2 teaspoons of prepared horseradish, 2 teaspoons of Creole mustard, 1½ teaspoons of specific crab seasoning, Worcestershire sauce, and hot sauce, combined with diced red bell pepper. This recipe is fundamentally different because it's engineered to deliver a powerful flavor experience. The delicate crab flavor is meant to be amplified and punctuated by the sharp acidity and heat of the mustard and horseradish. These patties are pan-fried for a longer period, 7 minutes per side, suggesting the need for a deeper, browner crust to support the robust internal flavors.
And then we have the minimalistic, yet maximally flavorful, coated crab case espresso, page 57. This is the simplest in terms of internal ingredients. The crab is just mixed with salt and pepper and formed into patties. The philosophy here is that the crab should be unadulterated and all the character should come from the exterior crust and the cooking medium.
The flavor and structure come almost entirely from the external coating, a mix of self-raising flour, seafood seasoning, and 1 pack of chicken barbecue mix. That BBQ mix instantly telegraphs the flavor intent: deep, savory, and possibly smoky. But the defining instruction is the cooking medium. They are pan-fried, not in butter or vegetable oil, but specifically in bacon drippings. This guarantees a deep, savory, smoky crust and a flavor profile that is intentionally heavier and more assertive than the other 2 regional styles.
Switching from hot preparations to cold, we find the crab stuffed avocado, recipe 68. This is essentially a chilled, fresh seafood salad designed for filling, where managing moisture is the key technical challenge.
It's an easy concept, emphasizing texture and freshness. You take 1 pound of chilled, fresh, cooked crab meat, rinse it, pick it over, and then drain it thoroughly on paper towels for about 15 minutes. This draining step is absolutely crucial. If you skip this, the residual water in the crab meat will break the mayonnaise-based dressing, resulting in a watery, sloppy salad.
Once drained, the dressing is a simple, crunchy blend. 1 cup of mayonnaise, 1 cup of chopped celery, a quarter cup of sweet pickle relish, half a cup of chopped scallions, lemon pepper seasoning, and sliced almonds. The instruction is to toss these ingredients gently with the drained crab meat. The combination of celery, pickle relish, and almonds provides essential textural contrast to the soft crab meat and creamy mayonnaise. The mixture is then used to fill halved, seeded avocados and served immediately as a clean, light appetizer.
Finally, we analyze the crab cakes and roasted red pepper sauce, recipe 64, a ghoul component dish that focuses on elevating the simple crab cake with a vibrant, acidic, and flavorful sauce. This is a dish designed for contrast.
Let's start with that sauce, as it's the element of surprise. It requires either a 14-ounce jar of roasted red peppers or 3 homemade ones, which are drained, combined with a tiny amount of Tabasco, juice from half a lemon, and half a teaspoon of celery salt. This mixture is pulsed in a processor until smooth and then set aside. The lemon and Tabasco provide the necessary acidity and heat, while the celery salt is an interesting aromatic detail, providing a subtle, earthy counterpoint to the sweetness of the peppers.
The crab cakes themselves use canned lump white crab, drained well. The binder is significant. 1.5 cups of cracker meal moistened with half a cup of whole milk, combined with a beaten large egg and mayonnaise. The seasonings are classic Chesapeake. Old Bay, baking powder, parsley, lemon zest, and Worcestershire. Formed into 8 patties, they are cooked over moderately high heat for 3 to 5 minutes per side. The large amount of cracker meal here provides the body and a sturdy platform, ensuring they hold their shape against that vibrant, slightly thin red pepper sauce.
Here's where we see the sources truly exploit versatile ingredients for texture and flavor variation. Beer is used consistently in this collection for 3 different and equally important purposes: boiling, broiling, and battering. The use of beer is a functional decision, not just a casual addition.
Indeed, the use of beer in seafood preparation goes beyond simple flavor. It's a technical tool. The sources provide 2 simple versions of beer batter for seafood. Version 1, page 28, is extremely simple. Flour, 1 can of beer, salt, and pepper. The carbonation in the beer acts as a natural leavening agent, providing aeration and lightness to the batter when it's fried.
Version 2 takes that structural enhancement a step further. It adds half a cup of cornmeal and 1 tablespoon of paprika. Crucially, in version 2, the seafood oysters, fish, or shrimp is first dunked in a segregated flour mixture before being dipped into the beer batter.
That is the structural difference. That segregated flour coating step before dipping into the complex batter, which contains the cornmeal, provides a double coating mechanism. This double coating maximizes crispness, structural integrity, and gives a deep golden color thanks to the paprika and cornmeal. If you want maximum crunch, version 2 is a technical superior choice.
Beyond the batter, beer is used directly as a cooking medium, not just water. In beer-boiled shrimp, recipe 31, 3 pounds of fresh shrimp are boiled in a stock composed of 2 cans of beer, half a cup of vinegar, salt, cayenne, celery seeds, and dry mustard.
The technique here is brilliant for flavor penetration. You bring that mixture, which is a complex blend of aromatics, acid from the vinegar, and flavor from the beer to a boil, add the shrimp, and cook until pink. Then the shrimp are removed, shelled, deveined, and placed back in the stock to chill in the fridge.
Oh, interesting.
This technique uses the chilling process as a flavor infusion vehicle. As the stock cools, the beer, vinegar, and seasonings penetrate the protein far deeper than if they were just removed and chilled immediately.
And we have beer-broiled shrimp, recipe 32, where the beer acts purely as a marinade and basting medium. 2 pounds of shrimp are cleaned, shelled with tails on, and marinated for an hour in a mixture of 3/4 cup of Coors beer, Worcestershire sauce, vegetable oil, diced garlic, parsley, salt, and pepper.
After marinating, the liquid is drained, but reserved. The shrimp are broiled for 4 minutes per side, with the instruction to baste continuously with the reserved marinade. This dual process allows the beer and seasonings to penetrate the exterior during the marination, and the basting keeps them moist and flavorful under the high, dry heat of the broiler. The combination of beer and oil in the marinade ensures the surface doesn't dry out while also developing flavor.
Next, we revisit the fried shrimp concept, but with a dedicated sauce focus in batter-fried shrimp, recipe 25. The core batter is made by sifting flour, baking powder, and salt, which is folded into a frothy mixture of 2 whole eggs and milk. The shrimp are deveined, butterflied, battered, and deep-fried. The simplicity of the batter allows the sauces to take center stage.
And the 3 accompanying sauces demonstrate a wide spectrum of sweet, savory, and spicy flavor pairings, essentially offering a choice between different flavor philosophies for the same crispy shrimp base. First, the orange sauce combines 1 cup of commercial orange marmalade with crushed ginger and minced garlic. This is simmered on low and then strained to separate the ginger and garlic, leaving a pure, viscous, citrusy, aromatic glaze. This profile is bright and zesty.
Second, the horseradish sauce is a true study in contrasts. It's built on 1 cup of grape jelly, 1 tablespoon of horseradish, and 1/4 cup of ketchup. This is an unusual, sweet, and aggressively pungent combination that provides a sharp, unexpected contrast to the fried batter. It relies on the sugar in the jelly to balance the intense heat of the horseradish.
Third, the plum sauce leans toward a more classic, Asian-inspired savory sweet profile. It uses 1 cup of plum preserves, soy sauce for umami depth, pepper, and 2 minced garlic cloves. This is simmered to boil and then strained to remove the garlic. This profile is deeper, less pungent than the horseradish, and more complex than the simple orange glaze. These sauces show that the fried shrimp is merely a blank canvas for various flavor experiments.
Finally, let's compare the coconut shrimp trilogy, recipes 58, 59, 61, showing how different bounding and battering agents change the final texture, sweetness, and complexity.
Coconut fried shrimp, 58, starts with an internal flavor marinade. Salt, lemon juice, curry powder, and ground ginger, marinating the small shrimp for 1 to 2 hours. This pre-seasoning is essential before the external coating is applied. The batter itself is complex, made from flour, skimmed milk, baking powder, and importantly, half a cup of cocoa casa cream of coconut.
The cream of coconut is the functional difference here. It provides high sugar content and moisture directly into the binder, which results in a sweeter, softer interior coating that caramelizes quickly. The shrimp are then coated in plain flour, dipped in this creamy batter, then coated in canned coconut flakes, and fried for a very short 2 to 3 minutes. The result is a uniformly sweet, moist, and tender coconut flavor integration.
Coconut shrimp with jalapeno jelly, 59, focuses intensely on crunch and a dynamic contrasting accompaniment. The first step is to toast 3 cups of shredded coconut slightly in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes at 350 degrees. Toasting enhances the nutty flavor and ensures maximum crispness when fried. The shrimps are butterflied, dredged in flour, dipped in 2 beaten eggs, and coated with the toasted coconut. The jalapeno jelly preparation is an elaborate mini recipe unto itself, designed to provide a sweet, spicy, and acidic counterpoint to the rich toasted shrimp. It involves boiling red wine vinegar, water, and granulated sugar, together with finely chopped green jalapeno peppers and red bell pepper. Liquid pectin is added, boiled once more, then removed and cooled. The contrast between the crunchy toasted coconut crust and the sharp, sweet, spicy jelly is the dish's defining high-contrast characteristic.
And the third version, coconut tempura shrimp, 61, introduces a technical, professional-grade batter designed for lightness. The tempura batter is made of flour, cornstarch, a large beaten egg, salt, and 1 cup of ice-cold soda water.
Ice-cold soda water is the key functional ingredient in classic tempura. It inhibits gluten development, resulting in a lighter, crisper, and less dense coating.
Right.
Crucially, 1 cup of freshly grated coconut is mixed into this tempura batter. The shrimp are first rubbed with Creole seasoning. They are dipped into the batter, ensuring the tails are excluded, and fried for a longer 4 to 6 minutes until golden. This version is a tropical fusion, seasoned again with Creole seasoning and served with 3 specific accompaniments: mango chutney, finely chopped cilantro, and fried, thinly sliced plantains. It demonstrates how a sophisticated batter can be combined with regional seasonings and accompaniments for a high-end presentation.
That deep dive covered a phenomenal amount of ground. From the sheer buttery indulgence of the barbecue shrimp variations, which were essentially designed as flavor baths, to the careful architectural steps of the baked oysters with blue cheese. What truly stands out to me is the sheer resourcefulness and iterative process captured in these sources. Whether it's using crackers, bread, or complex white sauce as a binder, or finding ways to infuse flavor through active basting or chilling in the cooking stock, every minute technical change transforms the dish.
It highlights that culinary excellence in seafood isn't about one secret technique, but rather mastering the dozens of minor technical variations that dictate texture and flavor penetration. The choice between using vegetable oil for a light cashew shrimp stir fry versus deliberately leaving bacon drippings for a savory crab cake, or the decision to chill beer-boiled shrimp in their cooking liquid versus serving them immediately, all these details transform the final flavor and texture. We explored high heat broiling, low and slow baking, complex frying batters that utilize cold water and carbonation, and simple boils, proving that even staple ingredients like shrimp or crab offer endless possibilities based entirely on the method chosen.
It's a fantastic realization that we have a reference material that actively encourages comparative cooking.
We saw multiple ways to boil shrimp and crab, from the backyard approach that uses basic spices and vinegar to the more refined boiled lobster that incorporates wine and garlic for subtle aromatic depth. If you had to choose just one, which fundamental ingredient, be it beer, wine, or a specific concentrated seasoning like celery seed or dry mustard, do you think provides the single greatest, most transformative flavor contribution to shellfish when introduced to the boiling stock? And why? That's the question of philosophy embedded in this entire deep dive. Something for you to mull or explore on your own until our next deep dive.